top class from Arsenal tonight. 6-0. An annihilation, a destruction, revenge for that defeat in France. And this is what happens. This is what happens when this Arsenal attack clicks into gear. They are scary. They are destructive. They are absolute dynamite. Absolute dynamite. What we saw tonight was nothing short of sensational from Arsenal Football Club. It was absolutely breathtaking to watch. 5-0 at halftime is the biggest halftime goal margin by an English club ever in the Champions League. And it was as if all of the sort of poor attacking performances of late, all of the kind of frustration that Arsenal fans have been feeling let itself out in one go. And not only was there 6 goals tonight, not only were they absolutely sublime, Arsenal, 6 different goal scorers as well. Kai Havertz getting his 6th goal. Sorry, his 3rd goal of the season, the first of the 6 tonight. You've got Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus scoring absolute quality goals. Saka's, yes, was a little bit fortunate, but sometimes you ride that luck. Odegaard getting on the score sheet with a wonderful finish to a brilliant team move. And, of course, a very, very late penalty in the game. Very, very late penalty in the game for Arsenal, which Jorginho tucked away. Some youngsters getting opportunities, some fringe players getting opportunities. Arsenal able to rest players and play in second gear for that second half. But it was absolutely scintillating tonight. And is this the beginning of this Arsenal team clicking into gear in terms of their attacking threat? We know defensively they're the best in the league. We know that they let less progressive passes through them. They get their lines broke less than any other team in the Premier League. They are difficult to penetrate. They are hard to beat. But the criticism has been of the attack. Can they score enough goals? Do they have good enough players to break teams down? When will Martinelli, when will Saka start scoring goals? What about the £60 million signing of Kai Havertz? When will he start to deliver? That's 2 games in a row for him now. And if this Arsenal attack clicks into gear, watch out. The reason they haven't been scoring goals has been nothing short of a handful of players have been out of form and have not been quite at the races yet, coupled with a slightly more reserved approach to games. This, in my view, I've said it all season, is to reserve energy for the home straight later on in the campaign. And it's also to ensure they're not leaking as many golden opportunities. They're not leaking as many chances for their opponents to score against them. But I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions on this. We are sponsored tonight by our friends at BetMGM. Let us know how you got on with golden goals. How many correct scores did you get? I'm ashamed to say I only got one. A lot let me down this week, but let me know how many you got right. And if you want to play, scan the QR code on the screen. It's free to play. Tomorrow on the Top 6 show, we're going to be doing the Premier League's weekend action on there as well. You have to be over the age of 18 and in the UK, but it's free to download, free to play. And if you get 6 scores correct, you win £2 million. £2 million up for grabs. So get golden goals downloaded right about now. Let's go to some of your comments that are coming in here. I want to know what you're all saying here. Yeah, I'm sorry about the beginning of the show when there was no sound. I actually don't know why I did that because I wasn't even muted. So, but we'll edit that out anyway once the show finishes being live. Only the people that got here early will have to see that. Kai Havertz scoring goals makes me as happy as us winning. Now, look, this is what I would say. I will ask Lee again this forthcoming week because he might change his mind about this. But when I look at this situation with Kai Havertz, I think to myself, is he everybody's favorite player? No. Does everybody think he's this amazing specimen who's going to turn into peak Zinedine Zidane? No. But what can he do for Arsenal? And in my opinion, he has the ability to score 15 plus goals per season. In the way in which he scored goals in the last 2 games, coming in at the back post with his head, coming in and getting these... Is he going to score screamers? Probably not. Is he going to score intricate goals? Is he going to score goals like we saw from Gabriel Jesus tonight? Probably not. Is he going to score goals like Martinelli? No. Is he going to get a goal like Bruno Fernandes earlier on tonight? No. But can he be a kind of poacher, a fox in the box? Can he bag 15 goals this season? I think he can with the right confidence. And then you look at him as a £60 million player and think to yourself, if he starts to bag that amount of goals per season, over a 2 or 3 year period, he's paid the money back. There is a player that can benefit Arsenal in there. And I understand Lee's point of view. I understand a lot of Gooners that don't like him. They want more. I understand this. It makes sense. However, and there is a very, very big however here. If he keeps putting the ball in the back of the net, he's going to pay back his salary, his transfer fee. He's going to become an integral part of this team. Scoring goals is the hardest skill in football. So well done to him tonight. He definitely deserves praise for getting on the score sheet. I thought he played okay as well, to be fair. Joint top goal scorers and second best defense levels is what Gunnar Dan has got to say here. Just be happy, Lee. Look, I'm sure I know Lee Gunnar didn't celebrate the goal. I shared it on Twitter. He did celebrate the others. And look, he's a man of his own principle. He believes that he shouldn't celebrate a player that he thinks is taking Arsenal backwards. I don't know how far backwards they're taking you, considering top of the Champions League group, top of the Premier League. I'd love Man United to go that far backwards, if I'm being honest. Kai is starting to look good, saying is what Joshua Loveless has got to say here. Certainly he's starting to look good. In terms of getting on the score sheet and impacting the games, does he look like an amazing player out there? No, I'm not going to lie and say that he does. But if he keeps picking up goals, I think that's what he brought him in for. I think that's what he's here to do. Remember, everyone said, what about the 7 goals that Xhaka got last season? Well, Kai Havertz has already got 3 of them. He's already got 3 of them. Could get more. Everyone Lee hates scored. That's not true because he loves Martinelli. He likes Saka. I think he likes Gabriel Jesus. So, yeah, I don't think that's strictly true. Arsenal were fantastic. When teams allow space for our attack, they thrive, is what Dan T has got to say here. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, left me speechless. I hear you on that. Everyone's saying Arsenal not as good as last season. Nah, mate, every Premier League team sits with 11 behind the ball. We are still top class. Great game, building nicely for the season. Come on, you Gooners. That's from Kelly. Kelly, listen, I'll make you right. I think the criticism of Arsenal this season has been ridiculous, considering there are teams below you in the league that are not even in Europe who have had more praise than Arsenal this year, that are top of their Champions League group, top of the Premier League, and only just getting started this campaign. This is why Arsenal face park buses every week. Open up and you'll get absolutely shredded. May not face an open side again this season, except Liverpool. Well, this is why, yeah, I mean, that's why I think one thing Arsenal got to add to their game is some earlier goals, because that will force your opponents into opening up. That will happen, most definitely. Most teams in the Premier League play low blocks against Arsenal. Once teams open up, they get punished like in the first half. Look, they did open up against you tonight. They did. However, you were clinical. And the one thing I would say is this. Take Martinelli's goal. I know it was the 4th goal, but take Martinelli's goal as an example. And in fact, take Kai Havertz's goal, the opening goal. I've seen Arsenal in those positions many times this season. I've actually seen Kai Havertz miss a number of them. Martinelli and Saka's got a few goals this year, but they just haven't had their shooting boots on at times. So sometimes it's about being clinical. And because you scored early, they had no choice but to come out. And then you just kept them scoring and scoring and scoring. And it became an absolute onslaught. So I think there's a combination of the two things here to make it right. Kai looks I think he'd be more comfortable with the team. Of course, he's settling. He's scoring goals. He's starting to feel more confident. He's got a lot of his own fans now behind him, supporting him, helping him move forward. And as I said a number of times, Arsenal are a scary team. Arsenal are a dangerous team. There is no doubt about it. And I still don't think they're anywhere near the peak that they could reach. And one thing that impressed me so much tonight about Arsenal was watching Gabriel in the last few moments when I think he got a block in to ensure the clean sheet was kept. And he's up and he's celebrating like he scored a goal. That is how you know this team is on its way to something brilliant. When they care about clean sheets, when they're 6-0 up. That for me is a phenomenal thing. It's a real phenomenal thing. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Handball that didn't count did for Newcastle shameless. I will say that tonight. It was 4-0 at the time, and Rennes should have had a penalty. They should have had a penalty. It come off of the arm of based on Newcastle conceding one last night. I completely agree. That was wrong, but we know why last night's penalty wasn't a penalty, as I told you all. Saka, 7 goals. Jesus, I think you mean Jesus 6. Martinelli 4 GA in the Champions League. Haters shush. Well, the one thing I'll say is this, is that these young men have still got a lot to prove. But there was a lot of questions about what could they do in the Champions League? How would they perform in this tournament? And I think, barring the game away against Rennes, very good indeed. 60 million down the drain. Lee Gunner wrong again is what NH says here. Best buy, Kai Havertz or Mason Mount? Well, right now it's Kai Havertz. He's scoring goals. He's playing for the team that's top of the league and top of their Champions League group. Mason Mount's injured and the team flop him. So, yeah. Enjoy the stream, 26 months. Enjoyed every show. Thank you very much indeed for being a member for 26 months of the Football Terrace. And if you really want to help support the Football Terrace, download and play the game of our sponsors tonight. Golden Goals on BetMGM. Let us know how you all got on, by the way, tonight, how many predictions you got right. But get it ready for tomorrow, because when we are previewing the Premier League's weekend games, we're playing Golden Goals again. And if you get 6 predictions right, that's £2 million we're giving away with our partners. So get it downloaded right now. I thought Gabriel at the back was immense and my player of the match. Now, excuse me, as I use my winnings to pay. Chill out, mate. I'm not reading the rest of that out, but there we go. To be honest, Kai looks good today. I cannot wait to see Arsenal play against Aston Villa. If those spaces open up and if we stay as clinical as today, we might be on a good run against Liverpool. They need reinforcements. I think you make a lot of sense there. I think you make a hell of a lot of sense in terms of what you say, my friend. And look, I think if teams open up against Arsenal, they know what's coming. I think they know what's coming, and it could be very painful indeed for rivals if they do that. It really could. It could be absolutely painful. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. So I'm just adding here some of the timestamps for later. I think my sound came in about 3:40. But there we go. I'm just trying to add them in so you guys can all see them. Keep the super chats coming. Keep the like button coming. If you want to phone in tonight and have your say, people, I'm going to share the link now. I'm going to put it in, say, call in now. We had a few people pull out on the panel because some work come up and some illnesses and some other things. So we've got some slots tonight. If you guys want to come on, if you want to have your say and give us your opinions on this absolute annihilation handed out by Arsenal tonight, feel free to phone in. We've pinned, we'll put it in the comment section. We're also going to pin it to the live chat as well. If Kai is taking us back, imagine when we progress. Yeah, I hear you. Look, listen, I understand people's criticism of Kai Havertz, and I understand wanting better than him. I do. But the one question that I asked of Lee the other day, and I asked this of all people that dislike Kai Havertz, there must be something he can do to change your mind. The response of, well, he's just not good enough is not an answer. What can someone do to change your mind? There has to be something. And if he starts scoring goals, if he started banging in 15 goals a season, would that not be enough? Especially if those goals were important. I'm not saying someone that scores 15 goals and they're all the 5th goal in 6-0 slap-ins of people. I'm talking about winning goals and opening goals. So two-thirds of his goals so far have been opening goals which are important and a winning goal for your club. Now, we need to add more of it. 2 good games running isn't enough to justify 60 million, and it isn't enough to get Arsenal fans who have a very high standard because of the history of your clubs to love you. But there has to be something somebody can do to make you say I was wrong, to make you say I want you to be in my team, to make you at least say I don't rate you too much as a player, but you've done well for us. There has to be something. We can't just live in this world of, no, he's not good enough, so don't like him. I just don't see how that is right or correct or even happens. I don't understand it. And if somebody does, let me know. This here from Rakesh says, oh, and I just had to come back. I am pretty sure Kai won't pretty much all the jewels, pretty much all the jewels in the air. Please let me know if I was tripping. Yeah, I mean, I can go and check that out and have a little look at the statistics. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he did or he didn't, because I wasn't looking at that as an example. But let me have a little look here at the stats from tonight for you. I'll take a little butchers. 6-0. Honestly, seeing you guys win 6-0 and then think about what happened to my team tonight makes me want to cry. It makes me want to cry. I can't believe we didn't win. Right, let's look at Kai Havertz tonight. Aerial duels. He won 3 of 4. He won 3 of 4 tonight, is what he won. So yeah, pretty much there. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Arsenalist here says we blasted them. You certainly did, mate. You absolutely ripped them limb from limb. Since him coming to the club, being the trust I put in the manager, I can't say I haven't seen why the manager plays him. His positioning is always first class. That's the one thing about Kai Havertz, which I think is right. He gets into a lot of the right positions. He just misses too many chances at times. If he starts to not miss the chances, if he starts to not miss these opportunities, I really do think that there's the potential for a serious player here. A serious player that can impact you. I'm not talking about serious like Zidane or KDB, but someone that can impact your team. And £60 million in 2023 is not the same as it used to be. It isn't. It just isn't. 1 second here. I'm just updating one of the timestamps here as there we go. Right, I'm going to take some calls in a moment. Santa Claus, what are you doing there? Let me know in the private chat who support. We've got Beckley Francis coming on first with us here to have his say on today. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Football Terrace. I've now lost what I need. That's it there. Welcome. What do you want to say, my friend?
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem.
I was going to say that you played really well today. The first game actually in a while that Arsenal play like really fluid football, like quick passing, and it just shows that in the Champions League, teams open up more against us because they are not used to playing against us. So then it creates space for our attackers, and it means that Martinelli, Saka, Jesus have got a bit more space. And today they'll just clinical as well, because if you look at the stats, we only have about 15 shots, and we usually have about 20 a game. So that was very clinical today, and it's a very good performance.
It was a very good performance. I want to ask you, what did you make of Kai Havertz? He's been very much maligned. The signing was criticised, but it's 2 games running now where he's come up trumps for Arsenal with 2 very important goals.
Look, I don't rate him at all. I think he's dead, but I thought like today he was actually really good. Like he was getting on, he was receiving the ball, little 1-2s, and I saw his confidence increase as well today. And it looks like hopefully he can go on a run against like the next couple games and get some more goals, because I think there's a player there, but I just think that his confidence is just in the gutter because of Chelsea days. But I think if you can get him scoring goals, I think he can just become like a guy later on in the box, just scoring goals, like 15 goals a season, just one of those sort of players. Like that's what I think, but I don't know. I still want him starting there for us, though. Like,
listen, I understand. Do you know what it is? I understand. I think it's one of those. He's never going to be Zidane. He's never going to be Dennis Bergkamp. But what he could be is somebody who, yes, he costs 60 million, but if he pops up with 15 goals a season and important goals, I think he'll pay that price tag back. I think it could be an important part for you. I really do. I really, really do. In terms of you guys scoring more now, is this more what you want to see? Some people are saying it's only because your opponents tonight opened up, or do you think this was more the Martinellis, the Sakas, the Jesuses just being clinical and really upping their game?
I think it's a bit of both, because I think that the reason why we're not scoring lots of goals like in the first like half an hour or so is because Arteta wants to reserve our energy for later on in the season, so we don't get injuries. And if we go and blitz team, someone's like it can burn them out. As we're seeing with Spurs, they're going all gone home, but they're getting injuries now as well. So I think it's a bit of both. But today, I think because they opened up against us, and Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Havertz all clinical, we just blitz them in the first half an hour. And if you give players like that a bit of space, they're going to do something. But overall, I think that in the Premier League, I think that it will be a bit harder to score this many goals because teams will sit back, 2 banks of 4, and then look to counter. But as the season goes on, I do expect Arteta to let them be a bit more expansive. As you saw with City last season, later on in the season, they start clicking into gear. So I think that's what Arteta's trying to do with Arsenal, so that we can save our players to the run at the end of the season so we don't get injured.
Yeah, listen, I understand that, and I think that makes a lot of sense. You into the next round now. How far do you think Arsenal can go in the Champions League this year?
I think we've got a better chance to win the Champions League than the Premier League, because I think in the Champions League, you've got to be consistent over 38 games. Premier League, sorry. In the Champions League, it's one-off games. And the reason why I think we can win the Champions League is because of our defence. And because if you watch City last season, away from home, they kept it tight against Madrid. They drew 1-1. Against Bayern away, they drew 1-1 as well. And the reason why they didn't lose is because they had a very good defence. 4 centre-backs playing across the back 4, kept it tight. When they went back to their ground, they backed themselves to win. I think we can go far, depending on our draw. But I think we could probably get to the semi-finals. I back us at semi-finals if we get the right draw, because apart from City, I back us against anyone. Like Bayern Munich aren't that great. I've watched them a lot of times this season. They aren't that great. Madrid, you can get at them. They're back there. You can get their back 4, Madrid. But they're just so clutch. They got Bellingham, they got Rodrigo, they got Vinny. But apart from Madrid and City, I think we can beat pretty much anyone in the Champions League.
There we go. Listen, great call, my friend. Do us a favor in the private chat. Have you got an @ on Twitter or something like that?
I got it on Twitter. Yeah, one sec.
Stick it in there, and Kayla, drop your message. It'd be good to get you on again, Beckley.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it. All the best, my man. You take care. All the best. Speak to you soon. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you. Next on the show, we're going to... Who am I picking here? There's so many people to choose from. I'm going to go to AJ. What you saying, AJ?
Hey, how's it going, Terry? First off, big shout out to the Terrace. Big
thank you, bro. Thank you.
Content. It is 60 million down the drain. No, that was amazing. Seeing us in the Champions League again. I'm in my mid-30s, and seeing us perform like that at that level, amazing. Amazing.
Absolutely. And, 6-0, huge scoreline, got your goal-scoring boots on again. You want to see more of this now moving forward. And do you think there's still another level or two to come from Arsenal this season?
Absolutely. It's like you always say, we haven't clicked into gear yet. We're not fully there. We're not all guns firing. We'll get there. I'm liking seeing Kai Havertz actually step into gear, actually get the ball moving, seeing him score in back-to-back games and actually have a performance. It's amazing. I'm excited for the future, for Yuri and Timber to step back into this team. I think players like that, maybe one more signing in January. I know everyone says we need 2 or 3 new signings, but I think one more signing in January could get us over the line.
Yeah, look, I think it really could. I wanted to ask you about Kai Havertz. I know you sung the song when you came in. He's kind of been the talking point the last few days, predominantly due to getting the winner, League Gunner trending. By the way, I will say this, 5 days running now, he's been the number 1 trend, the words League Gunner in the UK, because he didn't celebrate the goal. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans don't rate him highly, but is he starting, in your opinion, to deliver and pay back that big price tag?
I'd say it's too early to say. I would say I can't stand Lee Gunner. Some of his takes are absolutely outrageous, and he likes to walk himself into a hole way too often. But as far as Kai Havertz, no, he's not there yet. 2 goals in 2 matches doesn't do it, even though they are, like you say, big goals. An opening goal in a game like tonight and a winner the other night, fantastic. But he's got more to prove.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And who stood out for you tonight? Who was the star in this Arsenal team for you?
I loved watching Martinelli work, seeing him back at his best. I could tell when he got his goal, I was sitting there watching it, and I was sitting there watching him thinking he wants to get on the score sheet tonight. And seeing him contribute the way he did, I loved it.
Absolutely. AJ, pleasure talking to you, mate, and we'll chat again soon. Top man. Thank you, bro.
Thanks, Terry. Have a
Cheers,
good
my
one.
man. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Let's do some super chats here, and we'll take some more calls in a few moments. This here says, Terry, you've been saying for weeks that Arsenal will slap someone up. You've been spot on. Yeah, like, I knew they were going to slap someone up at some point. It was going to come. I don't think Arsenal have been as bad as people are making out. I just haven't. And I know people will go to their default and Kerry's twerking for Arsenal. That's not an argument. It's not a rebuttal. It's not debunking me. It's a very mild, lukewarm insult that has zero impact upon my life, that doesn't debunk or rip into or change anything I think I feel. It just doesn't. And I think Arsenal are going to get so much better as this season goes on. And I was watching tonight with my best mate, Phil, who's a Gooner. And I hate watching him happy. I hate watching him sitting there, drinking my liquor, eating my food, celebrating his team winning when United have just collapsed again. But I can't not be honest when I'm working and I'm being professional. I'm giving a professional answer. This Arsenal team are developing something special. I've said it for a while. Thank you very much, Alberto. We've got Gunerking coming on with us in a few seconds' time. We celebrating beating Rennes. Arsenal is a small club. I think you celebrate every win. And you should celebrate every win. Especially when, by the way, 5-0 at halftime, no English club has ever done that ever before. Of course, that's allowed a little celebration. Absolutely. 6-0. Thank you for a great birthday gift, Arsenal. Come on, you Gooners. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much indeed. Beckley, thank you for becoming an official squad member of the Football Terrace as well. That means a great deal to us here. It certainly does. Steve Mills says concentration levels this season are so much better. The way we stayed switched on even after being 5 up at halftime. Red Army, love the show, Terry. Thank you very much indeed, Steve. And you are switched on, and we've all seen the statistics and the heat maps that show that Arsenal get progressed on less than anyone else in the Prem. You can see less goals than anybody else in the Prem. You've got you just look imperious at the back at times. Of course, people create against you. It'd be weird not to happen. The greatest teams ever concede goals. But Arsenal's defense is solid. And for the first time ever this season, when it comes to Arsenal, we are seeing this rhetoric that's never been said before. It's always been stated that defenses goals win you games and defenses win you titles. This season, having a solid defense and being hard to break down. The only pundit, and there's an irony maybe in this, because last year Gunas felt that he was against them. The only pundit that's remaining true to this long-standing thought and theory about football has been Gary Neville. Everybody else is suddenly acting like having a strong defense and being hard to beat doesn't matter. And for me, that is an absolute nonsense. Gunerking's here with me now. Welcome back to the show, mate. I know it's been a while. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Yeah, it's good to be back. It has been a while. But what a performance tonight. People have, been saying that we need to score more goals, and we definitely did that tonight. It is only Lens, but good to see Havertz on the score sheet again. Back-to-back games, scoring. I think hopefully he can just continue in this vein of form. You can only beat who's in front of you. But look, first time of asking after being out of the Champions League for 6-7 years into the round of 16. And the boys should be really proud, to be honest, I think.
They should be proud. I mean, there were some people even at the beginning of the season that were talking about maybe you not even getting out of the group stages, not having a good European pedigree, the manager not being very good. And I know you lost away in France, but I again, as a neutral watching you, I feel like you've got through the group stages with relative ease. I mean, you went away to Sevilla and won, which is a hard place to go and win in Europe.
Sorry, say that again?
I was saying you've actually been fairly comfortable in this European qualification, the group stage process. You won tonight. You won away in Sevilla, and I feel sometimes like Arsenal's sort of Champions League campaign's been overlooked. When you get teams like, say, maybe Newcastle being a little bit hit and miss at times in the Prem, and you've had pundits say, "Oh, they're playing 2 games a week now. They're in the Champions League." But yet with Arsenal, they're top of the league, top of their Champions League group, but it's being brushed over like it's a nothing. I'm not too sure why.
I think, look. We know that there have been shortcomings in Arsenal's history in Europe. Look, we know that we've probably been a letdown on the European stage, relative to many other teams. But look, I think, and I don't want to stick the knife in because obviously I know you support United, but sometimes I think we look too much into heritage. It's not to say it's not important, but the team in England with the most European heritage is the one that's looking most likely to potentially exit at the group stages. Like Man City hadn't won a Champions League last season until they did, and I think there is a bit of a changing of guard that is happening. With a lot of teams. Not just in England, in Europe as well. I think a lot of teams are coming to the end of their cycle, and this team's just getting started. You look at the age of Saka, you look at the age of Saliba, you look at the age of Martinelli, Odegaard, Ben White, Gabriel. These are young players, and this is their first Champions League campaign. People will say, oh, okay, it's an easy group, don't get ahead of yourself. But some of these players have only played 5 Champions League games, Saka being one of them, and for me, it goes to show that, yeah, okay, heritage is important, but these kids, they're hungry, they are hungry to, sort of change the fortunes and the destiny of this club, especially on the European stage, and they've got the talent to do it. I think the way we're playing at the moment, we maybe lacked a little something going forward in our recent games, in the opening start of this season, but we've also been missing a lot of our first team attacking players throughout the season intermittently, at different stages. So I think that this team is doing really well, and I think if we can keep this group together and keep adding to it, and they can keep getting better, then I just think being successful in Europe is just something that is going to happen.
Listen, I agree with what what Beckley said a little bit earlier on in the show. I actually think there is a train of thought that winning the Champions League could be more doable for Arsenal than the Premier League this year. 38 games is harder to be more consistent over, and you're up against the best team in the world. And the Liverpool team, by the way, if they were in the Champions League this year, they'd have a chance of winning it because they're back to being very good again. Well, Real Madrid are obviously a threat, as an example. Bayern Munich are a threat. City are a threat. They're the only 3 teams in this tournament, could argue Napoli as well, maybe, who I would look at and go, I think are probably better than Arsenal. Or you could make a good argument why they're better than Arsenal. I don't think anybody else is. And you might not even play any of those teams. They might all knock each other out, if that makes sense, because you don't know who you're going to get. Arsenal have a chance in this tournament, and you're right. Heritage is important in some regard. But at times, if heritage was all that matters, City wouldn't have won a treble last year. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. So at times, heritage gets put in the bin. Once upon a time, Chelsea hadn't won a Champions League. They have 2 of them now. There comes a point where you can get it done. Listen, Gunerking, always a pleasure, mate, to speak football with you, bro. And I'm sure we'll do it again soon, my G.
Definitely, man.
Take care. Cheers, bro. Thank you very much indeed. We have another super chat here. Yeah, Becca, I got your at anyway, my friend. We'll add you up. No worries, my bro. I liked what you had to say. Next guy coming on to speak. We're gonna go to. Who am I gonna go to here? I'm gonna go to Gideon. What are you saying, Gideon?
Hello, Terry. How are you?
I'm good. Do you not have any lights?
No, I do, but I prefer it dark.
I can see you, but it's anyway. Go on, my bro. Go on, bruv.
Yeah. It was a good performance. I think it's different from the Premier League because in the Premier League everyone respects us. I think in the Champions League, as you can see, the Lions were playing some crazy highlight. If you look at our 4th goal, Tommy Asu just pings one ball over the high line and Martinelli's in, and he skins the right back and he scores. So I'm very happy. I know a lot of Arsenal fans, they've not been impressed with the performances and they want to see what we did last year. But the truth is that I don't think it will ever be as that first 19 games of the Premier League last year. I don't think we're going to do that again. Just simply because last year we had the element of surprise. No one actually expected us to do what we did. and so teams approached us differently. And if you notice, we got 50 points out of 57 in the first 19 games, and in the next 19 games we got 34. So if you really notice, after that Manchester United game, a lot of teams started approaching us in a very different way, and we didn't really know how to handle it. And as you see, we bottled the league in spectacular fashion. So I know going into this season, I knew it was going to be tough. I knew it was not going to be the same thing, but I'm very happy with how we are defensively. I watch Arsenal games now, and I just feel like they're not going to score. Like most of the goals we have given away this year has been most of our mistakes. And as you've seen in previous games we've played, if once we cut out those mistakes, we keep clean sheets. We've kept I think 50% of the games played in the Premier League we kept clean sheets in. So that's very good. That's very good. I'm very happy with what I'm seeing.
Listen, and I get that. And do you know what's interesting? I know that Arteta has been there a while now, and you're a team that's building itself, but you had to adjust from last year. And I think what I find so interesting about the way Arsenal was spoken about is last year it was very much, well, you're too easy to attack. You can see too many chances. You can see too many goals. You need to fix it. You fix it, and now people are finding other faults with you. And I suppose that's going to always happen until you win something major. But I do think you look a more you look a harder team to beat, and you're still very, very dangerous, my friend. Listen, bro, great to talk to you. Thank you for calling in, my friend. And we'll chat again soon, Gideon. Top man. Thank you. We have a super chat here that says, Terry, you are such a consistent person in your opinion, and I respect that. The super chat is just an appreciation. I appreciate you saying that's from the Invincible Gunner. Look, I'm consistent to a point, but if I do change my mind on things, I changed my mind on Onana. I want him sold by Man United. Unforgivable mistakes. So I can change my mind, but I think that it's right to be consistent. You know, if one minute you're saying your team's too vulnerable defensively, if they suddenly fix that and then you act like it isn't a big improvement or something that's important, then yeah, you're a liar. And I just don't think it works. Some fans are stupid. If we have been playing bad and winning, would you rather we play good and lose? We ain't Tottenham. I just don't think you've been playing badly. You've just not been ripping teams up in the same way. Remember, you've only scored 4 less goals than last season in the Premier League. Thanks for having me on. No worries, AJ. I appreciate you coming on and having your say, bro. It means a great deal to us here. Next on the show, I'm going to go to Gian. What are you saying, bro?
How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all doing well here in Atlanta. But I've been following you for a while, and I really appreciate the content. But I think people need to realize that soccer is evolutionary, or football is evolutionary, whatever word you want to subscribe to. Arsenal dominated early 2000s. Man United had their run. Man City had their run. So the honor guard is changing. People talk about injuries left and right, bottling the league last year, and then want to use the same excuses. People talk about all different things. But at the end of the day, it is about knowing how to get the best out of your squad. And you got to give flowers when they're due. And Arteta knows how to get the best out of this particular squad of players, whether it's from a defensive standpoint or an offensive standpoint. He knows what he's doing. Kai Havertz, like you mentioned earlier, is not going to be a main man, but he is going to be a crucial man, just like he was a crucial man for Chelsea in winning their Champions League. Tonight, opening up that back line, playing in between the lines, we showed our ever flow that we showed last year. So people thinking that still isn't there, it's comical. It really is comical. And I really want people to just take a breath and just breathe for a second and see what's happening. We are watching something beautiful. And granted, yeah, I'm a fucking gooner till I die, but I'd be saying this about Man City. I'd be saying this about City. I'd be saying this about Man United. I'd be saying this about any team putting in this type of work. They fucking want it. And that's what makes me so proud. Last time I saw Arsenal win a championship title, I was fucking 12. 12. I'm 34 now, and I am watching a team do something special. And they were on the precipice of doing something special last year. And if it wasn't for injuries, we wouldn't have done it. But because so many people are like, you bottled it, I'm going to try and say, don't say you got injuries. Don't say you have this. You get bad luck, you get good luck. You get good runs, you get bad runs, but you have to do what's best for it. So if I'm looking into the future, we do need to shore up a clinical killer striker. Jesus is not a killer striker. He is a great striker. He's not a killer. And Ketia is a poacher, but our system isn't designed for a poacher. It just isn't. We play free-flowing football. So we need someone like Tony that can blend a style of a Jesus and a style of a Holland with a little bit of hunger to really shore up that number 9 role. But outside of that, looking at Rice, I don't even care about missing Partey. We could sell him right now. I still want to see a Partey, Odegaard, Rice midfield. But looking at Rice, I'd rather see a Rice, Leandro Trossard, and an Odegaard midfield finally gel and come together and let the players do what they do. The low block that we're facing is why you're seeing Martinelli and Saka being doubled up and not having that expansive football. Tonight at halftime, we literally put White and Kivior on, and we had 4 center backs in our back line. When's the last time you've had 4 center backs that are actually decently good with both of their foot in an Arsenal back line? I'll wait, because I haven't seen it in a fucking long time. Like, I just haven't. So I really think people need to realize we're in for something special, and the trophies will come. They will. Just be patient and let it ride. And anybody that has any banter, smile, laugh, and keep it pushing.
There we go. Listen, Gian, thank you very much for calling in, mate. I really appreciated that call. Great words as well. Top man. Speak to you again soon, brother. All the best. Thank you. Thank you. This super chat here says, and I just had to come back. I am pretty sure Kai won't. Oh, sorry, already done that one. Sorry, already done that super chat. I was halfway through reading it. I swear I read that one already. This here says, Tommy the GOAT. The Tomiyasu, I've always rated Tomiyasu for you lot. And he seems to get a bad rep, but I think he's a first-team player for you guys now. I think he's ahead of Ben White. I always knew he could be. He's really talented. I think he's such an underrated player. This here from AFC Singh says, we won in third gear and have more gears to come. I think that's certainly true of Arsenal. Callum Peters is on with me now. What are you saying, Callum?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, bro.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on, first and foremost.
No problem.
Happy with today's victory, 6-0 win. Like, why not be ecstatic? In isolation, yeah, happy with it. I'm hoping from the 6-0 we can progress a bit further on, since we've been quite lackluster in attack. So I'm hoping this will carry on and we can see a bit more progression in more fluid football.
Yeah, I understand that. And I think you guys definitely need to add more goals. There's no doubt about it, but it should come. I want to ask you about a few players. How impressed were you today with Kai Havertz? He's sort of the talk of the town at the moment. How do you think he's doing at Arsenal? And do you think he's turning a corner now he's adding these goals to his game?
So I'm happy with the recent performances from Kai. I'm not someone who wanted him in the summer. I'm someone who wouldn't advocate for that. We know what his record at Chelsea was like. But, he's our player now. I'm more than happy enough to support him. In recent form, I think he's starting to finally look confident. I think that goal at the weekend against Brentford did him a world of wonder. Like, he actually seemed happy about it rather than what happened at Bournemouth. So, another goal in the Champions League, and I'm hoping he can perform against Wolves this coming week as well.
So I totally understand that. And look, it was a great performance from you today. How far do you see Arsenal going this season in the Champions League?
Ooh, in the Champions League, I'd say definitely quarterfinals, since we're going to top the group. So we should potentially get an easier top 16 match. I think maybe semi-finals at most, but I'm still of the opinion that there's a lot of teams that still have like Champions League heritage. I'm a big believer in, if you've done it before, you can do it again. There's still Real Madrid. City have only just won it, but they're the best team in the world right now. Still got teams like Bayern and, well, if PSG qualify from the group, they're still around. So I think maybe at most semi-finals.
And do you know what? That wouldn't be a bad first year back in the tournament. In terms of everything else, now that you're adding these goals, do you think it's just about players finding more form? Or do you believe in the notion that more teams in the Premier League are sitting back against you, making it harder for you to break them down?
Oh, definitely. Like from last year, when we were playing scintillating football, teams didn't really know how to play against us. We were a surprise factor. Whereas this year, we've gotten a lot more respect from other teams. You see them sit back. You see our attacking threats being stifled on the wings from Saka and Martinelli. They're always getting doubled up, sometimes tripled up on the wings. So in the Premier League, I expect it maybe when we play Wolves on Saturday, where we won't be as fluid because I'm expecting Wolves to show us a bit more respect. I think I think with the attack itself overall, I think we're just missing a more deadly striker. Like we need another option rather than Jesus up front, like with a Tony or an Osimhen or a Vlahovic, someone who's just someone who can just put the ball in the back of the net and change the way we play at times. Like I'm not a fan of Eddie. Like I don't think Eddie is it at all. So I'd like to see someone else come in and show what they can do.
I hear that, I do. And in terms of today, who was your standout players to you? Who are the best performers today on the pitch for Arsenal, in your opinion?
Best performers. I think Tomiyasu played a brilliant game from right back. I think he's criminally underrated. I think Kai actually had a really good game today. Like there was a bit where he was on the left wing when he interchanged with Martinelli, and he just took it round the right back. He just went right through him. And I think Jesus were probably the outstanding performers for us today. I'd say those three.
There we go. Listen, Callum, great to speak to you, my friend, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Top man.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Cheers, mate. V's on with us now. Man City fan V is here. What you saying, bro? You're on mute, by the way.
What's good, my guy?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. You?
I'm all right. I think this is a match where Arsenal are saying everyone's on notice. I think this is a match where Arsenal are, you know what, this is where we show that we belong in Champions League. This is the show that we're a serious club, because Arteta didn't hold anyone back with that starting 11.
No.
You know what I mean? So I think he went out to prove it. And even after they scored, even after they were up 5-0, they were still looking to punish. They were still looking to punish the team. So I think Arsenal have put the world of football on notice to be like, we're contenders here. So I have yet to watch the match completely because I was dipping in and out. But when I saw the starting lineup and when I saw those early goals, they're serious. They're serious.
How far do you personally think Arsenal could go in this tournament?
You know what? There's something to be said about having experience. And a lot of Arsenal fans thought that I was throwing shots at them or taking jabs when I said, you need to progress. You need to prove it. You need to come along and show that you're at that level. So it's hard to say that they can. I think it would be irresponsible to say that they can win Champions League because they haven't shown it. And it's a young squad. It's a new team. It's a manager that hasn't been, from a managerial standpoint, been there. But I think the last Arsenal fan said quarterfinals. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the semifinals because they're going to be top of their group. So they should be lined up with whoever was not as strong in the grouping. So yeah, semifinals would be a very good season for them. Back to the Champions League after the disappointing and we should say embarrassing exit out of Europa last year, to then respond and make it to the semifinals the next year. I think that would be huge.
I mean, it's interesting. I think everybody's been on notice for Arsenal for a while. I think the reason they get so much crap is because people know they're a very good team. And
no, Terry, no one had Arsenal on notice. No, they didn't. Last year was a surprise. Oh my gosh, look at where they're at. That was last year.
But this is the point. I think at different stages last season, people went, "Oh God, they're serious," and they saw it. But because it's Arsenal, and for so long, they were the butt of the joke. It didn't matter how bad. Generally, in the last 15 to 20 years, up until the last 2 or 3, no matter how bad a season everybody had, Arsenal were always the joke. Arsenal was still the banter club. And I think that it irks people and gets up their nose that they're a genuine team again. Now, look, they have to win a major trophy to sort of sit on a table with brilliant teams. There's no doubt about it. But on their day, we know they can beat anybody. They've beaten everybody, if that makes sense. And I think everybody is on notice. Now, they're not the favourites to win the Champions League. They're not the favourites to win the Premier League. But I think they're a contender for both, in my opinion. They're a contender. I'm not saying they'll win it, but it's definitely a contender for both.
All right, this has happened at City forever. We were favorites to win Champions League just because of the assumptions to our squad, the amount of spending. I think the spending intent from Arsenal this past year, obviously the record buy of Rice, I think that showed how serious they were to not let what happened last year happen this year, right? They strengthened. So, and okay, they've got injuries, they got to get players back. But the fact that they strengthened, I think they're going for either Champions League or the league. Now, it's going to be an interesting part. Terry, I know we joke that you're somewhat of an Arsenal fan, but asking you, do you think that they can pursue the two?
Yes, I do. I think that, do you know, in the last couple of seasons, I've listened to a lot of City players speak, and you shake your head, but this comes from City. And I remember listening to Gundogan speak last year, and he said that one of the things that helps them is being in the latter stage of the season when you've got Champions League and the Premier League, because you're so focused on each game coming up and it's almost every week you're playing 2 matches, you're not dwelling on things, you're not over-stressing on things, you're not over-analysing, you're not over-preparing. You almost don't have time to make mistakes. So I think if they're in both, I think it will help them in both. I don't believe in this bigger fish to fry. Oh, now we're out of this, we can focus on that type situation. I think they do. Again, depends on the injuries they get as an example, but I think that matters for both teams. I don't make them the favourites in either, but I think they're a contender, and I think they've got a chance of winning both. I think they're there or thereabouts. And the reason, by the way, you guys were looked at as one of the favourites every year was nothing to do with your spend per se. It was that you were such a good team. And I think if you're top of the Premier League, or if you're a team that's competing in the Premier League, I believe you have a chance of winning. There's 2 things that I believe are fact. If you're a genuine contender for the Premier League or a genuine contender for La Liga, I believe you have a chance of winning the Champions League if you're in it that same season. Okay. I believe you have to be that good a team to even compete for those 2 league titles, that you're good enough to win the Champions League. I think it's almost, it's ridiculous to say you're in a title race in the Prem, but you got no chance of winning the Champions League. That makes no sense as a statement to me.
Yeah, I agree. And as I was listening earlier, you happened to say that you think, just based off of 38 games, that Arsenal might be better suited to win Champions League than they may the league. And I get it. It's tournament. You're dealing with, it depends on matchups, who's on your side of the bracket. But I think a few things are going to be helpful for Arsenal. Because last year, I thought when the pressure mounted, when the expectation was you guys should be winning the league, that's when they went from being here to then showing poor performances, being down 2-0 early in a game. I think if they're distracted by playing in Champions League in the league focused, then they won't feel that pressure. I also feel like channels like yourself to say that they're not favorites, they're not expected to. If that continues to go for Arsenal, it's in their favor. Once the pressure or expectations on them, I don't think that they can cope this year doing it. But I mean, obviously, we'll have to see.
And maybe, you absolutely could be right. I mean, I don't make them the favourites to win it. I think with the Champions League, it's just you have to be consistent. You have to win. But you don't know who you're going to get. At the end of the day, you could have Real Madrid could knock out City, and then City could be knocked out by Munich, and then Munich could be knocked out by, I don't know, Inter Milan like last year, and that's who Arsenal face in the final. And suddenly, these things happen. So that's why I think they've got more chance winning the Champions League than the Premier League. But that's only because of how highly I rate you guys. And as much as City fans don't think I rate Man City, I genuinely do. Listen, V, always a pleasure to speak with you, brother. Top man for coming on. And I'm liking the games, bro. You're looking good shape at the minute. Looking good.
Hey, Terry, after a trouble, 3-peat, you got to look your best, man. You got it because everybody wants you. Everybody wants you. You got to look your best.
I like it, mate. I like it. Top man. Speak to you soon. Cheers, bro. Thank you. There's some more super chats here. First one says, hi, Terry. Callum, thanks for having me on. Not a problem at all, mate. Well spoken. Rivals calling out Starboy. He ain't done it in the Champions League. Currently the top of the GA charts. Come on, you Gooners. Partnerships are starting to develop. This team is growing. It certainly is. This here says, going to miss Tommy during the Asian Cup. Yeah, you will. You are going to miss Tommy Acid. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Look, I want to thank everybody that's tuned into the show tonight. We have come to the end. I'm sorry to everybody backstage that we couldn't get on tonight. I genuinely apologize. And sorry for a little mistake at the beginning where we had no sound. I have no idea why that happened, but it's sorted now. Please make sure you download the BetMGM app and play Golden Goals. It's free. It costs you nothing. You've got to be over the age of 18, though. So scan the QR code on the screen. We're playing that tomorrow on the Top 6 show with your chance of winning £2 million if you predict 6 correct scores. That's all you got to do. The £2 million. Probably do it for nothing all the time. Listen, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.